Greetings and salutations, Earthlings. So, hi, I am back in Colorado. I love my desk in Colorado because I have two computers. It's just easier to see the chart, but life has been real. And I'm okay. Like I'm really good actually. Um, Even when I'm not okay, I'm okay because like if the worst that could happen is that I die, and that's like actually the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm weird, but that's really how I feel. Um, so I don't hardcore stress about really anything. Um, I looked at my new moon video in Leo, and I had kind of said it would be felt differently by different people. Um, we have Mercury squaring the nodes of the moon, which is, I won't even get into describing it, but Mercury is our mind, right? And the nodes of the moon have to do with where, old habits and because it's in Sagittarius, like old habits and old beliefs and old ideas, um, painting with a big paintbrush. Like we're not doing that anymore. Like you can't just take a paintbrush and paint everybody with it, right? Um, I mean, clearly people are doing it, but it's not smart. There's so many different things about like people and just everything, but we're moving away from that, and we're moving towards the energy of like figuring shit out instead of like, well, I just believe this. It's like, well, I understand it this way, and then listening to the other. Okay. um and Mercury is our mind. And so I was listening to the new moon video in Leo, and it's like a new beginning, and Mercury squaring the north and south nodes. So it's like our mind is kind of in this uncomfortable position where it's getting information to move forward, right? And we're going to move forward because we're always moving forward. But are we making our decisions based on how things used to be, even how we used to be? Like we might be different people than, the criteria or the algorithm that we're using to make our decisions based on. I'm thinking about that. I'm experiencing that personally. Like, catch yourself if you're like jumping to a response about something, or um you know immediately inferring something or drawing a conclusion or making a decision. Like choose wisely. We do, let's see, yeah, the moon is with the south node. Okay, so, and this is for today. So the moon moves rather quickly, but today just feels like extra, read all about it. Um, we might be feeling real, like emotionally even mourning the past, or what we wanted to work, or what exactly we wanted it to look like. Um, I'm trying to think of a personal example that's not super private that I can share. Yeah, well, I'm in Colorado, right? I really love being in Texas because my kids are there, and they're back in school and stuff like that. And it's fine. Like Zeke and I have got it figured out. Like I think he's going to be a, what do you call it, snowbird, where he flies south for the winter. And it's all going to work out, but it's like little actual things and thoughts. Like my mind is starting to be like, okay, so doing things the way that I was doing them before, that worked then, but what do I need to do moving forward? You know, um, and how am I with people? You know what I mean? Who, and this is like kind of a personal experience thing too. Um, who do we want to be? Who do you want to be? It's not easy to be who you want to be. Like I have something really interesting going on now where, and I'm so unbelievably grateful, but I have more of a relationship with my kids than I used to, right? And so who I used to be was someone who I was talking to my own personal coach about this not long ago. You know, I feel good about myself. I really do. But there's always this part of me that holds on to, however aware I am of it, and however much I work with that, I want to say injury, but um, you know, mothers who lose custody of their kids are judged harshly. They just are. And I don't care myself, like, to kingdom come. There's a part of me that feels that, like, even if people are like, oh, okay, because I did it. You know what I mean? Like, even when I asked for help, I was like, well, I won't, I'll just keep going and I'll keep trying. And as long as I keep going and I keep trying in court, like even if I don't have a lawyer, if my heart is all there, it'll work, it'll work out. It is working out, like in its own way. Not through the court system, but I even thought like that shit will never happen to me, and it did. So here's what I'm getting at. It's like this is like an old belief. Like I was like, when I finally realized it's not going to be easy, it's going to cost a lot of money, because if you don't have money, they kind of ignore you. Um, so I threw myself into astrology and tarot and all of that because frankly, I fucking love it. Um, and because it was important to me to show other people that even without the two most important people in the world to me, I could find meaning in my life. And so if I could show other people that I could do that, then maybe it would be helpful to them to find meaning in their lives, whatever struggles they might be going through. So I threw myself into that. Um, and I developed some like habits of jump in and help, like helperism. I became a helperist. Um, and I don't have as much time anymore to do that. And so they're just, especially with me traveling back and forth and all of that. And it's all evolvement. Like none of this it's all no harm, no foul. It's all kind of Cartman. I don't care. I do what I want. There's an element of that because everybody should have an element of that. But the way forward is figuring things out. Like I don't think, if I didn't know myself so well, I would be trying to do all of the things, like to wear all of the hats, right? Um, and I wouldn't have been aware of the fact that there was a part of me that was trying to be like, I am a good person. And I hope you don't take, I hope you know that, like, I know that's an ego thing. And whenever I act authentically. I check myself. But, for me, one of my big things is, am I good enough? Because I wasn't a good enough mom. I wasn't a good enough wife. I was, blah, blah, blah. And that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm not saying like other people are at fault for me not feeling good enough. I just didn't know it was up to me to just decide that I was fucking good enough and be it. Um, in all of my faulty glory. So Mars, when is that going to happen? I'm going to bust out a book. Mars is going to be in a really good aspect to Uranus, because this Mercury in the nodes is heady. Like, it's just like mind stuff. So we could be in our heads. It is off of the exact square, but Mercury is going to be meeting up with Mars, and they are both going to be in a trine, which is a nice alignment with Uranus. Mercury is like the lower mind, and Uranus is the higher mind, right? Where we think about like the collective of people and spirituality, and we like expand and have breakthroughs, like spiritual downloads and stuff like that. You know what? I can look it up on here. So that'll be coming up. That's going to be building up over the next few days. So whatever you have been struggling with over this weekend and, into today, there's going to be an energy picking up that is more expressive, that will think of a bigger idea that might be able to come to fruition. Like, maybe things can just look another way. It's interesting just for me, the way that I've been going back and forth and all that. And it actually is tiring. And that's the thing, is I've been getting kind of tired, like going here and there and everywhere. And then I'm going to North Carolina next week to see my family, and that's fine. But then come September 1st, I'm going back to Texas, and I'm going to see my kids, and I'm going to like be in Texas for a while, because during the school year, I get to see the kids more and go to their activities and stuff like that. And none of this is a complaint, because a couple of years ago, like, this is a problem I am so happy to have, and it all evolved. Like, there's nothing wrong with like this weekend. Maybe you were like, what the fuck is going on in my mind and with my world? And I believe this, but this thought, I'm thinking this, and it's supposed to be like this, but it looks like this. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? It's about being in the moment and knowing that you're okay, and that at each point you're evolving. So things are going to build up astrologically anyway, in a better way. And it'll look different again in everybody's chart. But give yourself some grace, because life is a fucking messy process, okay? And nobody makes it out alive. And I'm happy that I believe that what's after this is way better. Like, I think it might be so awesome. It's boring, that's why we keep coming back. You know what I mean? Because it's exciting here. You don't get the shit that you want. You have to like work for it. You can't be like, ooh, I like pink cotton candy, and it like shows up, manifests in your hand. What I imagine is in heaven is pink cotton candy. But really, I think that it's probably so amazing there that it gets a little lame sometimes. We come down to earth to like spice shit up. Anyway, going to be okay. Like it's going to be okay. And coming up here, this is what I was going to look at. I think it might be Thursday. Yes. Yes. Thursday. Okay. Building up until Thursday, we're gonna have Uranus and Mars and Mercury and the moon actually in a grand Earth trine. Ah, so like the moon is our emotions, Uranus is innovative thinking, independence, freedom, higher realms of thinking. Mars is our action, our go get 'em, our warrior. Mercury is our mind. Mars is like conjunct Mercury, so they're going to be chilling together. You might have like a racy mind, okay, and that depends, but it seems like it would be in a good way. So from here, from this point on, remember that if you have like an old belief, or if you have a huge paintbrush and you just paint it, like took it and painted over like everything or everybody, if you're like excluding things from your life because you're like being too big, like broad with generalizations. And I grew up with like a bunch of Italian girls, and then I went to high school for or no, to college to teach deaf kids, so I'm like all about the hands. And but anyway, if you're trying to sweep like a broad brush or something like that, and you're not really thinking critically about things that are in front of you, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? This is about old belief systems, old beliefs that we have needing to fall, you know, like my belief that I have to be helpful and um help other people all the time to make up for the fact that I lost custody of my kids. Like that's fucking dumb, but I did it. You know what I mean? Like, and I did it also because it was meaningful and it served its purpose, and it did remind me like I can do it. I can have a icky thing happen and it can still be true that I'm a good person, you know. I cannot have what I want most in my life and I can still live a happy life. And you know, it's just the way that I'm going about things is going to shift a little bit because I'm busier in different ways, and they involve my kids, so I love that. Anyway, this was kind of long. I hope you guys have a great day on earth. If you're interested in a personal reading, reach out. My information is below. Peace. Namaste.